Welcome back to the Learning Insights podcast. My name is Joanna and I'm your host. And I'm so sure you're so happy to see all these beautiful faces on your screens. And right now, I'm just going to be introducing everybody. So first of all, to my right, I have my right-hand man, Ope. And we have Dr. Olufemi Oladimeji. And we have our special guest, Mrs. Marvelous Olives, who is an educator and a teacher. Hi, guys. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
How's everybody doing?
I'm fine.
Very fine.
You're
Thank
okay?
you. Very fine. How are we doing? How's the day? How's the night?
Fine, thank you.
How's the light issue going?
Well, the light is the light. I mean, it comes, it goes. There's no pattern to it. Well,
Yes.
I mean, the guys that have inverter now, they are like the
Yeah, the main
kings
guys.
They're
of
the
voice
kings.
and the queens of voice. I mean, because there are houses where there's just continuous light and stuff. So
Yeah.
they don't know whether there is no light or
They're not
I mean,
suffering what others are
there's no
suffering.
fuel, there's no light. Rat has chopped the fiber cable at the bottom of the ocean, or something shall chop something. And then half of our banking systems are offline and stuff. So, but it's fun times. And we are waiting for rain to start falling in
Very true.
Abuja so that the heat can at least stop cooking us alive.
Because I don't even know if the heat, if you have always been this hot or it's just because of
I think
the
this year
lights.
has been particularly hot. I think this year hasn't, but I don't think we've endured such heats like this.
I think
before.
it's because of the light, sure. That a lot of people are feeling
Even
it.
for Ajebota, I mean, we grew up when there was no AC, and then we survived. And we survived.
No.
I mean, I served in the north, and your skin gets used to heat. So after a while, your skin gets used to heat.
Sure.
So, well, it's good to be back on the show again, Joanna.
Yeah.
Thank you for having all of us around.
I'm so happy. I know that today's conversation is going to be an interesting one. So my very first question for you, Mrs. Marvelous, is how did you find yourself in the teaching sector? Did you just stumble upon it, or was it a passion over time, or is it that it just took you to serve and then you were like, I like this?
Okay, at first, I never thought about going into teaching. It wasn't really what I wanted to be. Was more of an economics analyst or a banker or something. But funny enough, sometimes you don't get to know that you have a talent until you're pushed into that sphere. That's where you realize, oh, you have a passion that you never discovered before.
Yeah.
So one of the breaking points for me was when I did my service in Jos and I was being
I
posted.
lived in just for like 12 years.
Wow, that's an amazing place anyway to
Yeah.
stay. So I did my service there and I was posted to a school. That was basically the first experience I had teaching.
Okay.
And it was really, really fun. And I got to discover, wow, I love teaching. And I love the fact I see children growing. I just love being around kids anyway. So that was a passion for me. And that was what made me, after service, I had to tell myself, I think I found a new love and I need to go into it, basically. So that's what pushed me into education.
Wow.
Yes.
That's really a lot too. Like that's the whole of story. And this happened after your service.
Yes.
I think it's
in
very
2016.
interesting because
Okay.
a lot of people just go into teaching because they have no choice per se. And it's a struggle for teachers just going into the field and not having the passion to teach children. Because you mentioned the fact that seeing the children happy and growing is a big inspiration for
In fact,
you.
one of our biggest problems in the education sector is because we have teachers who go into it, not because they love it, because there's nothing else available.
Yeah.
Let me just be doing this while in the process. And because when they go into that, they don't put their passion into it. You see it in everything they do. They don't even strive to be the best. And before you know, it affects the kids, it affects the system, it affects everything as a whole. So I think it would be nice if basically education should be a sector just like doctors, where
You have to
you have to have passion to go into it.
Yeah.
Nobody just come into it and just see yourself there. I think if we do that, the educational sector in Nigeria will actually improve. So that's my thought.
Do that. I mean, now they said, I think once you finish university,
Yes.
the default place you get
School.
in is
school.
a school.
Yeah.
In fact, there are some schools in Nigeria that they don't have permanent teachers. they just have revolving yearly teachers.
Yeah.
So the member comes in, they finish, as one set leaves, another set
Another one
comes
is
in.
coming.
So that means if from day one, whether I'm an engineer or whatever I read, once I'm not like these practical ones like the doctors and the ones that get to stay in hospitals and stuff in camp, we all get to teach.
Yes, I think that's one of the first problem. I think it should be, if you want to teach, let's go into the teaching sector. You don't just push people there. Then secondly, Nigeria at first, they started trying because TRCN came with the idea that if you are in the classroom, you must get your PGDE. In fact, I had to run to get my PGDE. I had to do it because actually I didn't study education.
Yeah.
What I studied was totally different, economics. So I had to do my PGDE. That is one step. But another thing is the sector itself is not being much celebrated.
Yeah.
So everybody just go into it. Nobody takes notice of it. And okay, what are the rules we can set to make the sector stand out? And you get to, and it's so painful when you realize that this sector is a very crucial sector that talks about the young lives of people, and it's being neglected. You go to even government schools, you don't see the teachers doing anything. Everybody just do what they want to do. And it's affecting us sincerely as a country. I think they should set up rules whereby you go into teaching if you really have the passion for it. Then secondly, this rule of if you don't get admission, just look for the available thing. I think that's where the problems start from. My younger ones, they are studying, my younger brother studied physics education. And when you say, you are going to the classroom, God forbid. My sister, physics, chemistry. And I'm like, this is an amazing subject that you can become all you want to be. And you see them like, I hate it. Just because I couldn't wait extra years. So I had to just go to the available one that is, I think it starts from the basic. What do you want to study? Go into it. If you don't want to be in education line, don't study education.
But then, there's also the influence of parents in some of these things. And then, like you said, staying home is like, we graduate, everybody graduates. And then we have the ones that got the course that they wanted. And then we now have, they gave me. They just gave me.
Like people like us, they gave us. I mean, after doing jam for 2-3 years, and you don't get doctor and law.
At least I have a degree.
So please continue. I wanted to just let people know that at least they gave us whatever we did not want. At least we made use of it.
And so I think those are just some of the issues that people face. And then sometimes even because from when you're doing it, you know that this thing is not it. It's not it. I'm not going to use it, but just for that degree. And so like, how can somebody like, I feel like sometimes people may just feel hopeless. It's just like, and your parents, if you're at home for 2-3 years, they are disturbing you, lazy child, you this, you are dull, you cannot, you know, all this external
and even the pressure of your friends going far and everything.
I feel if they make the education sector lucrative, as a teacher, you're being paid very well. And because we are paying you very well, we require some things from you. And if you cannot give us things we require, those process we want from you, you can't be in the educational sector. It will make a lot of people go into it because of the passion. Yes, because everybody wants to be a doctor. If you ask any child now, I want to be a doctor, why?
Even me too. When me, I did. Even up to now, I really wish I could
why
be a
do we
doctor.
want to be a doctor? It's not because sometimes when you realize the prestige that is attached to being a doctor, you want to be that. You even want your child to be that. Even like right now, when we do career day in school and a child says, I want to be a teacher, you need to see, like, even as the teacher, like, God forbid. Because we don't want to because we are not being appreciated. We are doing a lot, and everything, the system just messes everything up. So nobody wants to go where they are struggling. And you hear my fellow teachers saying, how many teachers have you seen that is driving a car? That is one of the richest man in Nigeria, in the world. And is related to
teachers. Those pictures? Then you see student cars. Prime cars, and then you see
your lecturer trekking or something. So it's not, nobody wants to go into it because it's not encouraging, truly. So I think if we look at the educational sector and place some things right, you will see a lot of people that have that passion and they want to go into it. I feel there is a lot of people that have that passion, but because there's nothing you can get from it. Let me just go to another profession and just strive there, or even be a businessman.
Yeah, that's true.
What of the union of teachers and lecturers, all these bodies that are for the welfare and well-being of teachers and lecturers?
Okay. For Nigeria, basically, I had to ask myself, what is the use of TRCN? Because personally, I've not seen the impact over my life or over the life of people, my fellow teachers. Yes, they say before you go into the educational sector, you must have something related to education. You don't just go into it. Okay, now that we have this certificate, what is our welfare package? What do we have minimum wage as a teacher? You see teachers in private sector especially literally suffering. And in fact, when you see the way they maltreat teachers, you ask yourself, don't we have TRCN that you can actually go and complain? These are the ways they are treating teachers. In fact, I realized over the years that private school owners, they are more organized than even the teaching council. Teaching council don't care. All they want to see is that when they get to your school, does he have certificates? Is he supposed to teach in the classroom? Okay, that's all. What happens to the salary increments of the people? What happens to the welfare of the teachers? What happens to so many things? So basically, there is no association personally. For me, it's my opinion. For me, there's no association advocating for teachers. None. There might be for university because of the ASU something and everything. But for the secondary, primary, teachers, we are on our own. And that's why we have this problem of teachers moving from one place to another, Because if you are in the school and you don't find it comfortable, after some time, I've seen people that work for 3 months, we move to another school. And that's how we keep on moving, just because we are looking for somewhere comfortable, somewhere that they can pay us well. And at the end of the day, the teachers suffer. Even the school owner is not finding it funny because people keep on moving from one place to another. So I think like we have NAPS is more of Nigeria private proprietorship school. If you see the way they do their things, they want to work together.
Yeah, I've attended one of their events.
So, and it makes them unified to the point that if you as a teacher misbehaves too much, maybe the owner of school want to take it too far. It can get to the point of pasting your picture on the platform. Don't employ this teacher. And before you know, it gets so bad. They can complain. In fact, it's crazy. And unfortunately, we, the teachers, don't know who do we run to when we are faced with problem, when we are faced with, unduly sacked. What do we do? Nothing. So we keep on moving.
But sometimes the teachers themselves, even who can be very, very difficult. I mean, I have a school. I work in school. And
that's amazing.
And one thing that I noticed was that, yes, they are genuinely good teachers that want to just do the work. They have the passion. They see kids that are not doing well. They are really committed to it. So, but then there are also some that it's just about the money. It's just about, no matter how you break down the curriculum, they just want to just get paid. And once you take your time as a school owner, you train them, you get everything done ready for them. And then once they've now matured, they don't even give notice. They will just disappear and then take that knowledge and just zap to another place. So is it that both the teachers have their own issues, the school owners? Now let's go back to public schools, since we have more public schools than private schools. Now, I had a little stint in public school. And one thing that was for sure was that the teacher can come to class and just say, I don't know, you didn't attend public school.
I did.
You did. So you know what I'm talking about. And
in fact, you might not see
you may not see your teacher. Teacher may give you people melon to pick.
Melons.
Yes. I attended a primary school like that. We pick melons.
You are only mad because you want to go and cut grass for your teacher and wash the clothes of your teacher, not because you learn anything.
I'm telling you, true.
So I think, it's like it's something that's really, really happened over generations. And it's
still happening.
I mean, because yes, if there is no need, I know there are private schools outside the country, but I think the main reason why people open private schools in Nigeria is because parents want to take their kids from public schools, not because they want to really. Because if you look at it, the standard, like you have said, teachers are more taken care of. They have a voice under NAPS and all the other associations, but in a public school setting, beyond the small social association of, let's contribute money so that we'll be packing every month, or this person wants to do marriage, bring money, let's buy clothes for Uncle. There is no really an actual representation for public school teachers. My mom was a teacher for 35 years in the public school in those states. Yes. So, and I know actually it's only like maybe if you have friends that they can just help you out when you are in trouble and you don't want to feed your kids. No, there is no actual body that you can say, okay, let me just run to. That's why you see most teachers in the public school, they are there because maybe the time. They have businesses. Yeah. So yes, Mom Michola, we have the store. We have other things she's doing. So she comes to school maybe 3 times in a week. There is no traction of, who is marking lesson notes? Who wants to mark who? We are in the public sector, no structure. So the headmistress, the headmaster, there is bush, the structure is bad. So every child must bring their own locker to bring their own share. So that decay makes all teachers want to just move
to the private sector.
And then you now come there where, it's just difficult.
And you have more students in public schools. And you have more students in public schools.
Exactly. You get up to 100, 50, 70.
How do you even manage that? How does the child even learn properly?
The child don't learn.
Is the objective to learn?
Yeah, the objective not to learn.
It's to be in class.
Wake up in the morning, and just wear your uniform and just go somewhere.
Yes.
The small stints I had in the public school, the first time I got to school, in fact, I could not relate. I attended private school up to primary 3, and then my parents separated. And then my mom took my younger brother to a public school.
Sure.
I was just wondering, are you kidding me? Like, everybody was just no. Some people are not putting on shoes. Some people everybody was just rowdy. So I entered the class and I'm just where is my seat? So I look for the best seat in the house now and sit. And then the guy come and say,
that's my seat.
That's my seat. Start from that place. So where is my own seat? Because I didn't bring any seat to the school. And then they say, that one over there, you can manage it. Up till now, I still have a very long scar from sitting down on that chair, and the first thing I felt was a long nail just dragged through my leg.
Oh my God.
That was the first time and last time I went to that school. It was that bad. Because if you don't bring your chair, you sit on the floor.
Yes.
It's as simple as that. Writing materials, reading materials, and that is the government school.
Your own job.
I don't think I have never heard of a private school where the pupil has to take
chair
on their head. That is why first week of resumption in any of these communities, you will see people with wooden chair on their head.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's that. So now teachers want to just say, okay, be a teacher, and the more we have less passionate people now that want to be a teacher. So how much are you paying me?
Yes.
How much is my distance? Because now you have to be a B-head or else private school, not
employee.
We had a guest on one of our episodes where I said, if you don't have this qualification, you don't be a teacher. If you don't have this experience, you don't be a teacher.
Yes, you don't.
So the bar is high in private schools. But in public school, just go, collect your minimum wage, and pray to God that you get your gratuity on time.
That's really true. But even both, like we've mentioned, if you make like teachers, don't you think if you make the teacher's profession more lucrative? I think it should. But if you do that, don't you think more people go into it just because of the money? Even if you are,
I think even if the first point is going into the education because of the money, like I said, in the public school, if there are rules, sincerely, why it looks like the private schools are trending and they are doing well, because everything you do, as a teacher, if you misbehave, there are consequences for your action.
Yeah.
So it makes us to some extent as a teacher to be guided. If you don't mark a student's notes, there is a point in time within the term to pick up the children's notes. Check how many topics you've taught for the term. Have you marked the children's notes? What did you do? Is it in line with the scheme of work? I think if you have people like that in the government sector, people want to do sit-up. And funny enough, we teachers, everybody wants to go to the public school because I can decide not to come to school.
Yes.
I can do whatever I want and nobody can sack me. Nobody can give me query because it's from the government. So I think rules should be kept. Yes, you should appreciate the teachers. Standards should be placed. Whereby if you get to this standard, you are being appreciated like the doctors. But meanwhile, you must do your diligent duty because you are guiding lives. It's just like doctors. In fact, there's this saying that doctors have one patient, but a teacher in a class, the least class you can have is, let's say, 9. You have 9 patients. You have 10, you have 20, you have 30 people that are under your care, and you are there to shape their life in the right path. So I think it's a whole lot. So with all those things being put into place, teachers will behave properly. Then the sector will become, everybody will want to go into it. Even if it's for the love of money, along the line you can save the child from the green thing, because they might not be able to meet up to the standard. They might need to drop out.
Because I have a friend who is in university now, preparing to be a doctor. And she told me, she's passionate about it, and she told me her own story why she wants to become a doctor, the disease she had that she got healed from that made her want to become a doctor. And one thing she told me that stuck with me was the fact that being a doctor is very hard. It's extremely hard. So people who are just in it for, maybe when they ask me what I wanted to be, I want to be a doctor. At some point, you're going to need a motivation that's beyond the money, because you're not getting the money now. So you need something that's beyond that. So I think the standard being upped is for teachers will also like balance it out for it being lucrative. Because again, like you keep on saying, you're teaching children. So like, part of the reasons why I haven't studied economics in school was because of the teacher I had in SS2. I did this economics in SS1. I hated it. We had a change of teacher for SS2 to prepare for a foreign exam. And this man taught us SS2, SS3. And his method was different. The passion, when you have a passion for teaching the subject, there's a way you're able to open the subjects for students to look at it. And it's different. I think we were talking before, and another important thing is, apart from teaching a subject, another thing that's really important is like experience. So when you have that experience in the industry, if something like mass comm or something practical, you can also bring that into the classroom. So there are a lot of things you can bring into the classroom. But passion for me stands out for a teacher, because apart from just teaching students, you're going to inspire students. Why should I listen to you teach me if I'm not inspired by what you're telling me? So I think that passion is very important, and teachers should. This actually goes a long way back, beyond even just teachers themselves. I think it's a very systemic problem in Nigeria.
Everything.
So let's change. Let's talk more. Let's talk about parents.
Parents. So.
Yes.
Every teacher's nightmare. You beat my children, or you beat my daughter. Hey, you are going to police station. So have you had the experience where, yes, in public school, all meat is edible. But in private schools, the rules are different. So have you had experience where you had to confront a parent because you corrected, or are there laws? Me as a parent, I've tried to imagine it many times of if my daughter comes home and say, she comes home and say my teacher scolded me or touched me something, and I would just say I'm cool with it. So, but then I know there are parents that are really, really very, very, very like...
They don't even talk to their children. I think teachers were passing through a lot, truly, because unfortunately, maybe because of the way the profession is, how everybody have downplayed it. So we get to meet parents who already look down on us. from the starting.
Okay.
So you even talking to their child, even the way you even relate with them at first, you see this kind of, why are you?
Mm-hmm.
So you as a teacher have a duty to raise yourself high, to give them an impression that you don't talk to me anyhow, despite you're a parent. How do you give the impression? It's not by being rude or something. All this eye service that a parent is coming, you're going, hey, welcome, ma. Thank you, ma. Ma, hey, tomorrow is my birthday. No, you don't do that. Sometimes I owe you greeting, quite all right, but I'll just greet you and I give you this. The only thing I have here with you is professional. I greet you and leave. So that to some extent, the way you look at me.
Yes. No, see finish.
Yes.
To avoid
see finish, you not enter into it.
Yeah.
Because we're already passing through that for the fact that you're teaching these kids. And unfortunately, the children we are teaching now, my goodness. Children who have house help, they talk to anyhow.
Yeah.
Children who parents have made them believe that even we teachers are under their duties. We are there to serve them. How do you manage it? We have a lot of challenges we pass through in school because you can't talk to a child. The child does something wrong, you can't scold the child. They will tell you it's affecting the child's emotional development. The child might have inferiority complex. And I'm like,
and that's here in Nigeria.
When I was in primary school, you misbehave, you chop beating. They will beat you to the point. And the funny thing is when you get home and tell your mom, my teacher beats me. You will get another beating. What did you do for your teacher to beat you?
We used to have assembly beatings. Like, in assembly like this, when you are in trouble, you don't wait. You wait to know the next day. And then they have to bring you out. And you prostrate and... I mean, then when you know you are in trouble, you wear like 3 trousers already.
You put books in your trouser.
Something is happening.
Yes. Or you need to go and clear the grass and everything. But now the generation we have, parents do not believe in beating. They do not believe to some extent in scolding. So we as a teacher, we are faced with a lot of challenges of, you see children who misbehave, how are you able to correct them? Because if you touch a child, they'll tell you, do not touch my child. No matter how small, you don't touch a child. It can even lead to the school even confiscating your this thing to the point of sacking you because you touch a child. So it's the number 1 rule in private school. Don't touch anybody's kids, no matter what they do to you. But my anger to some extent, I'm not against that rule, but for the fact that you let the children know that you can't touch them has spoiled a lot of things. Because the children literally do things to make you angry and they know you can't touch them. I've had serious issues that I'm teaching, you're making noise and I'm like, stop making noise. And the child is like, and you get to the point you're like,
Holy Spirit, take control.
They don't even care.
The child will even say, you cannot touch me.
What?
Yes.
No, children are rude
school,
these
you
days.
cannot touch.
Yes.
And you look at the child.
Nowadays, I used to tell my wife, I think the kids, I don't know how God creates them, but their whole style from day one.
It's different.
And it's different. It's like they come prepared knowing that nothing can happen to them. So when they go to schools, they know you can't beat them, you can't flog them, nothing happens.
So I feel if the school was able to tell us, the teachers, don't touch any child, then go to the children, make them believe that you can be flogged. Because sincerely, the world, why we are organized as a human being is because there are rules and regulations. If you kill, definitely there's a consequence for it. Or if there's nothing done, everybody move and do whatever they like. So what we are able to do as teachers, sincerely, in fact, it got to the point I had to start praying for patience. Patience for the children, patience to overlook a lot of things. Even when sometimes I have to literally walk out from my class and like, God,
just take a breather.
God. And you see the child, what will she do? So how do we do this? They had to come with the fact that, okay, we have to have rules. If you break the rules, unfortunately, school owners, I'm sorry to a school owner.
No, I love this.
The parents, they worship the parents because they are bringing money to the table. Truly, we cannot beat that fact. So anything a parent wants, they tend to just follow it. And it has really brought down the school. Because I have a case in my school that a parent, she said, don't touch my child. No matter what my child does, don't touch my child. We've been trying to, and the child is really naughty. When I mean naughty, she can do anything. And you see a child of 9 years already talking about a boyfriend, talking about things, and you are teaching the child is eating chewing gum in primary 5, and you're like,
What's going on?
what is it? And the child knows that you can't touch. So, and the funny thing, the parents will still come and complain that there's no discipline in the school. I saw another teacher and student doing something. What are you going to do to the student? And you're like, what do we do? So I think as school owners, we need to have a standard. Whereby if you have a standard, you get like minds. I know of schools who they have strict rules, and you still see people rushing into it, because if you don't train these children, our parents are already very, very, very busy to even be concerned with this children well-being. So I think as a teacher, truly you need to have patience, because sometimes the frustration of life and everything can make you overstep your boundary.
That frustration.
Yay.
I was waiting for you to finish, because the number one fear of anybody
of the
is
parents, right?
don't transfer your position on my child.
Yeah, there was one video I watched.
If you and your husband, or you are hungry, whatever it's your problem in your house,
But they didn't pay your salary.
don't. It is that fear that I think parents have as genuine, because we've had instances where you see,
go overboard.
I mean, you've seen some mothers or some homeowners, how they treat their maids, and then just imagine if that kind of person was now a teacher and had the levity to, ability to just, so it's because, in Nigeria, people start transfer their aggression. I've been in traffic, and then somebody has slapped me inside traffic before. I was just inside my car, and I just went down to collect fresh breeze when I was still hustling then. And this guy was in Wuse Market. And the guy just walked to me, like, wanted to ask a question, and just slapped me.
Why?
No particular reason. I'm sure he was just telling himself, why do you drive me and then son? I'm telling you. So it is the fear of transferring aggression. And what constitutes good beating and bad beating? Some parents can even damage their child's eye or something from flogging.
Yes.
Not to talk of, you can maybe, is it two strike? Is it 3 strikes? Is it 20? Because some people too, the way they will be flogging you, it's like I think they're just sending their entire life into you. So it is that fear. As a school owner, yes, there is discipline. We have like a discipline guide that give teachers, but genuinely, we try our best to provide other forms of discipline.
Like what?
I was actually going to ask.
And we have a counselor, so there is no way to get rid of their kids that already have issues from home.
Yes.
And the only place where they can, if you are from maybe a broken home or a home where the parents are already boxing each other, when you come, or maybe where your family already use bad language, you come to class and say that. So no matter how many times you write in the competition books, please tell Femi to stop talking like this, the parents will not change anything. So it's just to find a balanced approach. But I don't know, but I kind of feel, I grew up with beating, and I turned out well. So the ability to get, the fear of, if you get below B, or if you are caught, just simple this. Those days, just a high like this.
You know what is
going to happen. You know that when you get home, So, but then, nowadays, look the high, do the nose, do everything,
I think, for me, I think as parents, we have a role to play. We have to train our children properly, because a well-brought-up child, even when he goes anywhere, he can be properly guided. The problem is our parents are not doing their job. And when you see children coming to school, you see them talking to people anyhow. You see children that lack manners. They can't stay one place. They are insultive. Yes, because from the house. And then you as a teacher, you are faced with, how do I solve this problem? For me, what I do, I realize that, yes, we can beat. Okay, what do I now do? Apart from the fact that I had to now start working on myself, and irrespective of what the child does, if I'm trying to correct you, I make you believe, I make you know that I am correcting you. I do not hate you. I think that's where most of us have problems. The way you treat this child, maybe the child poured water, the kind of beating, even anybody that watched the video knows, this one, no, now, it's too much. Yes, because you realize they are pouring their frustration. The work is already so cumbersome that if you're not careful, you go into depression as a teacher. You begin to get angry all the time. So what I do sometimes, when the child does something, I look at the child, then I try to understand the child personally. That child that just eyes like this, it does the work for you.
Yeah.
That child that you have to call by the sign and like, what you did made me very sad. And you can do this blackmailing something that I feel so sad. I've never been disappointed like this. And you get the child to do whatever you want. So now what I do when I get to a class, I start studying the child. What works for this child? Because you need to get the bottom line. Even the misbehavior, it goes beyond misbehavior. Even the academic performance of the child. The child is not doing well. What do you do as a teacher? So you need to understand the child. What works for this child? I have a child that this boy will not do homework. I have shouted, what is wrong with you? How can't you do this? The next day, the same thing. I had to call myself. I said, no, this shouting is not working. Marvelous, what next do we do? I started, okay, there's some child that don't like public disgrace. I started like, can you imagine? Stand up. You did not do your homework. Class, what do you think you should do? It didn't work.
Oh.
I had to start praying for wisdom. Every day I have to pray for wisdom on how to follow these children. And one day I had to just call the boy. As I called him, he came. I said, sit down. Today we just want to have a heart-to-heart talk. And the boy was like, okay. The boy is so hardened that, okay, we put measures that if you misbehave, you will go out for break time, you got to stand at the naughty corner. What naughty corner? You tell the child to stand there, he will sleep. You'll be the one to force him back inside. You say don't go out for break time. He got so used to it that, in fact, even crimes he did not commit, you did not know he committed. We'll come and meet you the next day. Miss Marvelous, I'm so sorry. I insulted somebody yesterday. I will not go out for break for the next 1 week. Wow. I'm like, so I had to know this is not working. So it got to the point, I called him one day. I said, why are you doing this? And unfortunately or fortunately, the cleaner was just cleaning the passage. I told him, look at that lady. He looked. I said, what's the difference between you and her? I said, she's a cleaner, I'm a student. I said, apart from that, physically. I said, nothing. I said, the difference between you and her is that possibly she didn't go to school. And your parents are giving you. I had to use that method. And I'm telling you, as I was talking, I said, why are you disappointing your parents? Do you know how much your parents are paying? The boy started crying. In my mind, I was like, God, finally. And he cried. And since then, I never need to raise a hand. I never need to shout. All I need to do, if he didn't do his homework, I'll look at his book like, he'll be the one. It's marvelous. I'm so sorry. Let me do it now. So as a teacher, I think one of the things we learned during our PGDE, for those who do, we learned psychology of a child. You need to understand this person to know what works for the child. From a child, like he said, that is coming from an abusive home, you insulting the child might not really have an impact on the child because the child have already received enough insult. So word of affirmation might do the work. Calling the child. I've called children, do you know you're handsome? Like, no. I said, you are very handsome. Look at your eyes now. You're very handsome, but you're not doing handsome things. Look at your handwriting, ugly. How can a handsome boy have an ugly handwriting? So you have to find a way to do whatever you need to do to get what you want. So in as much as I am a person that don't believe beating should literally be removed away from children, because the Bible says, spare the rod, spoil the child. But I think it should be minimal. We should use other aspects, word of affirmation, trying to even understand where this child is coming from and try to solve them. Some of them just need love. Some of them do this thing because they need attention so that you know that they are available.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think just to go back to the whole beating discipline thing, I feel like it's more than beating. There's a stage you reach that it's even like a competition. It's like this person, that time we used to call it chesting.
You can chest them,
you be like, you come, just take the 10 strokes and that's all. But like beyond that, like I feel like there should be other measures, like you said, words of affirmation, understanding the child. Because let's tell the truth, some teachers are wicked. In secondary school, what we face, like especially male teachers, like some female teachers can be brutal, but male teachers. And it's unnecessary because even the punishments that maybe somebody with a military background will now come and be teaching young children and be giving punishments, crawl. I remember one time, oh God, they told us to crawl with our knees and carry our desk. And that time it was like desk and chair together. And it was like, it had like iron, it was wood, but it was joined with iron or something. So imagine that maybe I was like 14, 15. Doing that punishment. Why? Because maybe we know, I think something about dining. Is it necessary? Yeah. Because I feel like that's why don't touch my child. Like, I'll probably be one of those parents. Like, don't touch because I don't know the frustrations you're facing in life that you come about on my children. So like, I think that I understand where schools are coming from. And also teachers, but that's why we need other methods of discipline, because it's not just about beating. All those beatings that, okay, your parents, teachers beat you, they beat you, you got injured. There are people that, I think there's somebody that ended up having an eye issue in one that I know, like a friend, because of beating. Like, why? I think beating, I support the no beating in schools.
I think there should, but it should be minimized. That it's not everybody that should. If the child does something, there's somebody you can report to that you can beat the child. Yeah. Then secondly, they should allow punishment. The problem now schools are having is even no punishment. No punishment, no beating, no talking to the child anyhow. So in your point, so what do we do? And you see, funny enough, in some schools, child will be misbehaving. Like this.
There's nothing you can do.
You will run. Hey, is there no teacher? What do we do? Yeah. I don't want to talk to the child before they'll say I insulted the child. I don't want to punish the child before they'll say it's corporal punishment. The punishment is too much. And you're forced to just look. Like when I started the terms in my former school, I gave assignment, nobody did. Wow. The whole class. Or like, what? It's not gonna happen. And it was first term, so I needed to show like I'm the boss here. Everybody, pick pin. I had to everybody stand up, pick pin. The children cried. But the funny thing is I was checking my time. I knew marvelous. You should not exceed, yes, 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes, I asked them to sit down, go and do my assignment. Do you know for the past 1 month, nobody missed doing my assignments? Oh. But funny enough, you work in a place where they'll call you, why did you punish the child? That's corporal punishment, you don't do that. So what happens when a child don't do your assignment? You say, oh, my darling, can you do your assignment, please? What happens when you do that, the child doesn't do it again? Yeah. You don't do anything. So sometimes I'm faced with, I'll just write in a notebook, please do your homework. Please, I beg you, do your homework. And they don't do it, and you can't do anything. Yeah. So I think, to some extent, allow punishment, but you can, streamline. What kind of punishment can you give? You don't do the one that you crawl with chairs and everything. Yes. But kneeling down should be accepted. Maybe 1 or 2 other assignments should be punishment should be accepted. But if you remove discipline in a school, the children misbehaves, and they will definitely go out of your hand. Yeah, they'll go you won't be able to do anything. And it's happening in schools now. You see children who lack manners. Yes. And that's the generation you are growing in the nearest future.
That's why we have all these people online that are abusing the elders. And,
yes, no respect.
I mean, you are in the place by default. I mean, it's keyed into my brain that when you see an adult standing, you stand down.
You stand up.
But no. What those guys just looking at it, guy, you are day your day, my day. Yeah. I'm telling you. I think it's not something that's just happening because, I mean, definitely the last 10, 15, 20 years, we've had the same issue. So those kids that were primary 1, 2 then, they are out of NYC now. And they are the ones that will stand at the back of their phone keyboard and just abuse everybody.
Keyboard warriors.
Just no respect.
No respect, because there is that idea in their head that nothing can be disciplined. And that is why we are in a phase where there is this pandemic I call pandemic of self-entitlement. Yeah. Where this You just assume it's my right.
Yeah.
And you cannot be disciplined. You cannot talk to me anyhow. You cannot correct me. Even my father cannot correct me like that.
Yeah.
It's pandemic, but God will help us. Let's switch gear into something more fun and more interesting. Information technology.
Wow.
One of the things I do is at Lens Blog we do what we call e-learning. So we have this perception that teachers want to use technology. And some teachers also don't want to, even it's like they're anti-technology. So what is your view about using technology in learning? And generally, how can it be used efficiently to enhance your work as a teacher?
Okay. Any teacher that is anti-technology should come out from the teaching profession. Because unfortunately, the children we are teaching are Gen Zs, right?
Yes.
They are already online. So how do you want to teach a child if you are not online? How do you want to teach a child if you don't know what is happening recently? I can't bring my notes of last year and come and teach a child. I can't. It has revolved. AI is saying something different. So I have to check AI too. I have to check one or two things. I need to know what is in vogue so that when you are talking to these children, they can even understand you better. If you bring our mother's teacher and they are teaching these children, they will be lost. They won't be able to understand one thing because you are out of this world. What you are saying is abstract. So technology is a must because it has come to stay and we have to embrace it as teachers. So I feel technology have helped me a lot personally. In fact, I love technology because I use it a lot.
I'm happy to hear that.
It has made my work easier. Now I don't need to write notes. I don't need to. I can go to classroom like this, and all I need, I've already prepared my slide. Already have video backing up what I'm teaching, and all I need to do is just click on the
press play.
Press play, and the children watch. And the next thing we are talking. How do you think this? What have you gotten from the video? What do you think about this? Because I am to some extent trying to improve on myself, even down to the primary. You need to learn technology because you can't go back to. In fact, nowadays, recently there's this quizzes online. We can do a lot of things, a million of things online that will make your teaching engaging. That will make you even find fun while teaching. It makes it easier because now you don't need to start writing lesson plan. You can type it. You can even check online, okay, lesson plan on this. You get more ideas on how to make your teaching interesting. You can even get videos online. How do you do that if you don't embrace the technology?
Yes.
Now, in fact, recently, I don't need to write notes on questions on the board. What is it now? I don't need to waste my time for that. All I need to do is, guys, bring your system down to primary. Bring your system. I bring my system too. I go on quizzes and I type questions for now. I get 15 questions, class appropriate. Maybe I'm teaching primary 1, I get 15 questions or 20 questions. It can even come with video for explanation. But because I've done my explanation in class, I can just, let's go and do the distance. And you give them the code. You need to see my children being excited. They feel like the children will be begging you, give me classwork. Miss Marvelous, please, can you give us more codes? And I'm like, chill. So it makes learning fun. It makes them want to learn. You are still achieving your aim, which is for them to know. Now, formally, instead of complaining, they are not doing assignments, just give them assignments on quizzes. They will do it. And you even put it, quizzes is so funny that you can even put some funny things in it. Where there is strike, there is ×2 if you answer on time. And you see the children try every day. They ask me, it's marvelous, can we do quizzes? I'm not the one saying, let's chill. Let's do other things. So technology is very important. It makes you as a teacher learn more. Because if you are in a teaching profession, you must learn. Continuous learning. It's compulsory. Gone are those days where our lecturer will say, you see this notebook, I've used it for 20 years. That means you're not supposed to be here.
Honestly.
When you have children, when you're teaching, whatever you're teaching, they're trying to bring it to real life. When I'm teaching economics, my children is asking me, now, it's marvelous in the Nigeria economy. What do you think you should do? If I don't know what is happening in Nigeria economy, how do I explain?
Yes.
You know, I actually saw something, this ESL and TEFL teaching for all of that, where they were like, you actually have to, it's part of their course, I think, that you have to be involved, like you have to be like tech savvy, you have to know what's going on to be able to keep in trends, like even just bringing news, like okay, artists that are popular with their age range, like bringing them like Peppa Pig now with younger children. If you can find a way to bring that into your classroom, it's actually
very important. In fact, what I use a lot of platforms. In fact, from searching online, I got to realize there's a platform where you just type the question, type the topic, and a PowerPoint slide appears.
Yeah.
Everything.
PowerPoint slide.
Yes, PowerPoint slide. In fact, I use it all the time. In fact, it has made me so enjoy teaching, whereby I have a lot of folders in my system. English. From the English, I have grammar, I have composition, I have comprehension, I have things on. In the grammar, I have for now. I have videos, I have PowerPoint slide, I have MCQ questions, all of them generated online.
Your pupils are really enjoying it.
Honestly.
So when I come to the class, I'm like, what do we do? And I'm playing a video, I'm asking you a question. It makes the children want to just love teaching. They want to learn. And when a child loves something, they learn faster.
Yeah.
That's just the truth. So you have to make your teaching interesting as much as possible. And you realize when you're trying to get all those things, even make you enjoy the teaching. Now, to some extent, it's just that now I know I have to learn a lot. I have to do a lot of online classes, trying to learn one or two things. The other day, they came up with, okay, my school said we have to do flip learning. I'm like, okay, flip learning is when you have to learn outside school. You have to do a video. They say you can do a video by yourself. You can actually just get videos online. And I was like, marvelous. Let's do a video. Is it not Zoom? I had to check Zoom. I had to record. I did the first video. I was like, hey, it's amazing. And funny enough, I posted it online. They didn't watch. And I was to teach the topic the next day. So what I did, I just came out in class. I played the video. Even me, I was watching. I was like, wow, is this me? My goodness, it looked interesting. When I was done, the children, I didn't need to teach more. I had to ask them, what did you learn from the video? Hey, this one, I learned this is this, I learned this is this. They had to ask me, do you have a YouTube channel? Miss Marvelous is posting all those things online. And I'm like, wow, that's true. And it never crossed my mind. I was like, okay, now I need to work on myself. I need to start doing a lot of this video posting online. So it makes teaching interesting. Even you as a teacher, it makes you learn more. Because if you're in this profession, you must
have
learn.
access to so many resources. There's no excuse anymore to be mediocre.
You have to use a lot of platforms. We have Zoom, we have even so many.
It's an eye-opener there. So that means teachers are complaining, okay, now, let us be fair. Let us be fair. It's marvelous. You are a teacher in a school in Abuja.
Yes.
So an average, the majority of the teachers we have in Nigeria, they teach in rural communities, out of rich communities where power is not. I mean, in your school, I'm sure the school fees of the kids are plenty. So to buy this zoo and buy data and buy computers.
Yes.
But excuse me, how do we integrate technology then into remote schools in remote? Because, for example, you as a teacher now is like you are already a magnet for technology. But most teachers, even teachers in this Abuja, we've had owners complain that I spent millions to buy smart board, buy all these things, and these teachers
they just keep it by the side.
They don't even. It's like they don't more than that. Their phone, they know how to do Instagram. Everybody knows how to do, but just to use technology that has been provided in classroom to teach, they would not. Why? Why do you have? Why is it that some of your colleagues they are anti-technology? Because now it's not that they are not even in the village; they are in the city.
Yes.
But a school now, you will take your time, buy tablets for them. They will delete all the app that is educational inside and put social media and put movies, and then come to the classroom and just put earpiece and watching those movies and give the children God knows what. So how does a school owner that loves technology now goes to the extent of buying those equipments and then it doesn't get used? What will you tell your colleagues at the next TLCN meeting that they need to do better? So why is it that, because you now, this is your own person, because definitely you can always speak for yourself. Yes. You can't say, okay, all the teachers in your school, they all have the same affinity for technology and stuff like that. So, but it enables fun. By default, everybody thinks education is boring. In fact, the way it is now, with the fact that you can't even track and say, okay, if what you are teaching me today in the next 20 years, prove to me today that I will need it in 20 years. Most teachers can never prove that point. So, but when you introduce technology to it, how do we go from having the physical technology to getting teachers to use it appropriately, efficiently? I mean, the way you are saying you are using ChatGPT and everything, it's as if you are meant for that industry. So, but some people, you train them, you provide it, you give them allowance, you do everything. They will still come to class and bring out their marker. Just write on the board. So why? Because we are in that age now where everybody uses that technology. Why is there this perception? Where can teachers use it? What do you think are the challenges that are causing that?
I think one of them is, I told you, first of all, for you to be in the industry, you need to have passion for it. Then secondly, I feel the fear. It took me a lot to learn these things because I'm someone that if you give me a challenge, I don't see it like a challenge. I don't see it like a problem. I see it like something I can learn. Like when they introduced this flip learning, whereby you must just do something, your next topic, you must post it online for the children to watch before the class so that they can get, it's more like a research, they can get a pre-knowledge about the thing. Everybody complained. At first I complained, I was like, what nonsense. Everything we are doing, this, I'm not resting. I told myself, why don't you just learn this? And imagine me thinking of, I think it's high time for me to open a YouTube channel. I think it's high time to post these things on my social media just because of that. So if you as a teacher sees everything that some of the things that the school owners are saying, truly, it's too much. You're like, lesson plan online. I'm used to writing in a book. How do I now go and do PowerPoint slide? You will need to learn the PowerPoint slide. You will need to learn how to use Zoom. You will need to learn how to check the things online. The fear, people don't want to do that stress. They don't want to go that far because the question is, how much are you paying me? Is it for how much you are paying me? I will now go that extent. Not knowing that it goes beyond this. Teaching, nobody can pay you for teaching because we are not just teaching. We are encouraging, we are grooming, we are doing everything for that child that the parents might not be able to do for that child. Moreover, the children most of the time spend time with us more than even their parents. Because sometimes the parents come in the night, they are gone the next morning, they bring the children down and the rest of it. So I feel as teachers, one of the things we can do is, this is technology has come to stay. We should embrace it and allow yourself to learn this thing. Because if you are in this profession, you are here to learn. You have to learn to teach the child. Before I enter the class, I have to watch the video too. I have to check 1 or 2 things online. I have to read it so that when I'm teaching you, I'm not teaching you something because children can take you off balance. I was teaching a primary 4 students on family. And before you know, family, just something that normal teacher would just say, we have to tap your family, nuclear and extended family, and you're done. We had to dive into IVF. We had to dive into, what's it called? When you adoption. What do you think? And if I didn't have a knowledge of 1 or 2 of these things, I would shut that child up and say, keep quiet. All you need to know is 2 types of family.
Nuclear and extended.
Nuclear and extended. And that's the way we are being taught. That's called root learning. You're not making the learning child center. And why we are teaching, we don't, in fact, what we do, what we should believe as teachers we are to do is to guide the children. Not just to pour something into their head. Guide them to discover this. So that's what technology can help you do. When you have technology, you don't even need to struggle and start teaching again, where the children will say, I don't understand. The technology, you bringing them to real life situation, they can be able to learn. So I think we need to embrace, as teachers, we really need to embrace this. It will help you so that you don't become 19th century teachers and you want to teach 21st or 22nd century children. You'll be embarrassed because you realize some of the things you know are no longer in existence. They are dated. Then secondly, I think it's a personal thing. Most of the things I've learned over the years, sincerely, it's not because somebody puts gun on my neck and say you must learn it. I told you I studied economics, but now I teach English. And every day it's something very new that I'm not supposed to have one knowledge about. But every day I see a topic and I'm like, wow, I need to learn this. I need to, because it's an interest. I see this as I'm developing myself. And anybody that sees me think, she studied English in school. I don't have any certificate related to English. But because I have a passion for this. So teachers, we need to know that this is passionate. We should not be guided by the money alone. Our reward is in heaven. Our reward is not in heaven.
But we want to add to all that. I think first off, like for school owners, in my own opinion, I believe before just going to buy those kind of equipment, like I know the aim is to help these children, but before buying those kind of equipment, I think firstly, you need to speak with your teachers and to know, and to train them about it. I think second, because if I'm a teacher, I have not used technology before. The only one I know how to use is Instagram. And let's be factual. Instagram.
What he's saying is you've trained these teachers. They don't want to use it. I have them like that. In fact, diction speaking, I remember in my former school, they called us. They employed somebody to teach us diction. And I beg, forget this thing, which nonsense. Me, I'm not an English teacher. Me, I'm a maths teacher. And people did not take it serious. At first, it started as a joke for me. And now look at where it has brought me into. It made me realize I even love English now, just from that training. So sometimes you train them. They don't want to learn.
Even if you train, sometimes even when you train them, like using technology now, using something like Instagram is designed to be easy to use, right? So even in the terms of technology that we used to teach, I think one thing that people creating this technology they should make it easier to use. I know over the years I've used platforms like Coursera. And I've noticed they've developed, thanks to the pandemic, it allowed for all these organizations to grow fast and to research and develop and to experiment. I think they need to make these things user friendly, because let's be factual. Some teachers seeing these things, it looks overwhelming. They're teaching me how to use presentation, a slide and everything. I can use that very well because I have been taught how to use those things. So a teacher seeing those kind of things, it will be overwhelming to them. Then I think another maybe strategy we could use is help teachers to see the value of them using these things. I know of teachers from schools abroad that do all these YouTube videos or post their content on Coursera. Engineering students, most of them, if you ask them, is always this Indian on YouTube that's teaching them, how to do this. It's never their teachers. So those ones, they will start class, they won't go for classes. They just go to YouTube. The people on another, and they will talk. One Indian man is teaching them. So I think if teachers can see the fact that tech can number one, make their job easy, because the things you just mentioned, they are doing all these things without something that have taken you months to do. Two, you can build your own personal brand and you can make money from these kind of things. I think if that's the value you are pushing to them, that this is what tech has to offer. Because the question now is, what is tech offering me? What am I doing? I'm a math teacher. What am I doing this thing?
Seeing the need.
So if you can push that to them, that this thing, you can do this with this, so you can do this. There's money in this thing. And Nigerians, the way we are, we'll go for it now. So I think it's very, very important.
He asked a question about the rural environments where we're not giving opportunity. I worked in a school where we didn't have, internet service, number one. We didn't have interactive board or projects or nothing. So, but one thing I did was, sometimes I'll have to gather the children. I have a laptop. I'll gather the children because I know even the children, my aim is to transfer knowledge. So anything I can do to transfer this knowledge, I have to go the extra mile. So sometimes you have to, on my system, play for them to watch. Moreover, even if you don't have all these things, you can still bring your teaching to life, whereby you bring some concrete things and express yourself and the rest of it. Or personally, you can use plain. Now that I teach children, so most times I have to watch cartoons. So when I'm telling you about stories, okay, today I want to talk about fairy tale. I ask you, how many of you have watched Sophia the First? Yay! I said, did you see what Sophia did? Yes! Hey, this is... At the end of the day, I'll tell you, can we itemize? Imagine that story. Tell me things you can get from the futures of fairy tale. Somebody will say, it's not real. Just you're getting your. So I'm not using this thing. But I'm making them think outside the box, bringing the learning to life. That's also technology. As much as everything you're teaching, you're trying to bring real life scenario to it. I think it will go a long way.
That's because that reminds me. When you talk about the example you gave about using cartoons and stuff like that, Now I'm on this platform, this edtech platform, this WhatsApp, and then we discuss about, okay, why is it that there is no traction for edtech? So we have lots of them, ULesson, LearnSplore, plenty of them like that, but everybody just seems to be working in small niches. So it's not like fintech where money points, Flutterwave and stuff like that. Yeah. And then somebody said, do you know that education is actually boring? The way we actually do it, it's boring. So you carry okay, those big physics textbook, and you want me to read that
and summarize
it and then do an exam. So, and then somebody said the end point for most of these learnings is to pass an examination, not to actually convey or transfer knowledge. So when you know that, okay, I just need to memorize the multiplication table. So let me just memorize it, pass it, and then once I leave that exam hall, if you ask me again, I can't remember anything. So how do we further infuse ideas like this? Yes, maybe for younger kids, using cartoons and movies is one thing, but you say you teach secondary school. At that level, how do we make education fun again? So because the truth is, even for me, it was not fun. It wasn't fun actually. So how do we actually make it fun? Like, how do you want kids to wake up in the morning and before you even wake them up, they're already running to go and take their bath and say, so how do we, like you said, most university students now just come to the compulsory one that has compulsory attendance. But once there is no lecturer marking attendance, just go to YouTube and go and watch one lecture there, and you can pass, and you get the knowledge.
You even get more.
So how do we make learning fun? Not just education now, but how do you convince this generation that, okay, guys, it's good to learn?
Basically, I think it's a bit difficult for the secondary, especially when you're trying to prepare them for WAEC. Because, truth be told, nobody cares about how you are bringing it to life. Now solve cosine rule. I don't know what I use that cosine and tan. Is it tangent or whatever it is?
Honestly.
I don't know what I used it for. So I think and that's why I think most secondary schools are embracing this British curriculum, CSE and checkpoints and the rest of it, because most of their questions, to some extent, you can say they are very simple, especially the one that requires calculation, because what they are trying to do is just bring everything to real life, where we have what problem. So we don't have children who are cramming, we have children who are solving problems, critical thinkers who think outside the box. So I think it starts from our at the top, the educational system. Any exam we need to do, it should be applied questions, things that they need to look around themselves and solve the problem. We should not just cram. Sincerely, I'm a victim of it. Even in the university, we are cramming, we are reading, let's just pass this exam. The next day you ask us questions on that, we do not know, because we just want to pass. So if we make sure whatever we are teaching from WAEC, from NECO, whatever we are teaching, it should be life application. It should not necessarily be very difficult. Sometimes I've had to check some of the questions these people said from the outside the country, and I'm like, this question, it looks a bit simple, but it's talking about real life. They're telling you what do you do in this kind of situation. But Nigeria will ask you, what is this? All we want to do, remember, it's Bloom taxonomy. We are at the lowest point, whereby we just want to remember and understand. Nobody wants to go to applying. Nobody wants to go to evaluation, analyzing. No, just remember, what is this? How many types of family do we have? Father, mother, brother is what? Do you understand? So I think if we do that, it will help, because now I teach SS2 and I'm forced to prepare them for WAEC. My brother, I'll have to teach them what is economy, how many economic system do we have in Nigeria? Because you are teaching them to pass that. But in as much as you are doing that, try to make, you as a teacher, your duty to make this, if you make a real life situation, they want to understand this. I know several times when I'm teaching economics, we'll end up talking about Nigeria problem.
That's the best. That's the best.
Honestly,
I'm telling you. And there was a day I was teaching about price control. Someone had to ask, do Nigeria have price control? I said, I don't think they are working though. He said, yes, so because people just wake up and add price. Why are they not price control? Tomorrow, if I ask her what is price control,
She knows.
she
will
knows.
have an idea.
I have a student in SS1 that he will not remember anything I teach, but the story I tell, he will remember.
Yes.
So most times whenever I'm reading my economics, I try to look for one story, add it to my teaching. So if I'm telling you early marriage can lead to growth, I cannot give an example. Like one of some of us here, we get married at the age of 12. How many children do you, some of us are married 4 children, 4 wives. Let's say each wife give birth to 5. How many population do you think one family have gotten? You make them, okay, let me start counting. Or I had to get to the point and ask them, how many are you in this class? I said 12. In fact, count all your family members. How many population do we have just in SS1? You make it interesting. To some extent, some of these things they might not remember, but from the example you give, they will get to remember. So that's what we need to do as teachers. Try everything we are teaching. Even if it's, to some extent, it cannot be... Like mathematics teacher, I pity them because some of these things they can't bring it to life.
There's no story.
Just give us the formula and everything. But I think for other subjects you can figure out a way.
Yeah. I think that was basic science though, but it had a lot of calculations. Either basic science or maths. There was this teacher that I had, Mr. Tosin. And that term, that class here, we're going to have a lot of formulas. And what he did was that he made it into a song. And it was a continuous song. So in week 1, you're learning speed equals to distance over time or whatever it was. And I think there were 22 that I still remember most of them till now. So like when you have that, like even when you see it in WAEC, you can be like, okay, even if you have to recite it just to get to that point, you can recall. It's like practical. So I think that regardless of I feel like there are ways. It's your field. It's your field. So you need to know what to do.
I promise you, if you ask me how many days are in April, I'll be like, I have to sing that song. So you get So even to add to what she said, I've said it before. There was something in music that we're supposed to learn, a long list of things. I didn't really like music that time. Our teacher made us to sing that song. Mr. Kayode will sing that song. We sang that song in just one class. And up to till now, I can remember the song, not just the song. I can remember the board. Because
you imagine it.
Yes, I think when teaching evokes emotions, it's more memorable for students to remember. So I think those things are kind of important. Instead of just coming there and saying, this is this one. The reason why I did economics too is because of IGCSE. Because of how they frame their questions. I'm not, at that time, I wasn't the kind of person to just carry any textbook, essential economics. I'll never carry it. But when I got a hold of the textbook that they gave us for IGCSE, I was just going, because he had pictures, he had cartoon characters explaining this, he had graphs. So everything wasn't just text and this. You had pictures bringing things to life. You said, like from all the conversations you have with your kids and everything, people you're teaching, they keep on asking questions. People want to, I think these kids want to use their imaginations. And what we have on ground, like you said, your guy at the top, they need to arrange these things. Or guy at the top.
I think so. That's a different story. Another kettle of fish. So because I mean, speaking of our guys at the top, I think I saw one interview by the Minister of Education, and I was not really passionate about education. So it was like some weeks ago, and I was just shaking my head. This is not it at all. So because you look at it as a school owner, when you are starting a school, if you are starting a school, you start from the business perspective. I want to make money, or I have passion for education. And then when they now reel out all the requirements, and then you now say, I want to pay all this money to get this approval, and then they now tell you, okay, this is the curriculum you have to use. And you have to use this curriculum. You can borrow any one from North Korea, anywhere. But you see that one from Nigeria, you have to use it because they will do common entrance. They will do what? They will do some things based on it. And then you say, okay, but I have read through this curriculum. It was last updated in 2012. September 2012, particularly. 2012. I mean, we all know where we were in 2012, right?
Secondary.
So you want this next generation to actually
Go through this.
go through the same thing that the last generation and the one before them went through. When are we going to try and update it and say 2024 edition or something? So the thing is, there are agencies of government whose only responsibility is to take these policies, this curriculum, and actually work on them and make them up to date.
It's been 12
But
years.
no.
How far?
No, they would rather go into the schools and ensure
That
you
They are using that.
use that curriculum. Not even so. I mean, they come for checking, then they come into the library. So then I tell excitedly, I told the woman, we're going to have a curriculum, content based on British curriculum, US curriculum, and then she's waiting. So okay, where is the Nigerian curriculum section? I say, actually, I've looked at it, and now this is my naive self that hey, thank you, want to become a school owner, and then I've looked at it. I don't really, I know we'll pick Yoruba, we'll pick the local languages, pick the religious studies and stuff like that, but the core subjects will be from this country. Then she says, my brother, you're deceiving yourself.
Wow.
You have to
I'm telling you.
have this one. And not just that. We've gone to your classes, your teachers are saying they are using tablet to prepare their lesson notes.
We need printed copies.
You need to go and buy exercise book,
Why?
higher education,
Why?
and actually write.
Right.
We have the British curriculum actually comes with the lesson plan prepared already.
Yeah.
We want our teachers to follow that to the core and stuff like that. I say, you see, they are going to actually take that lesson plan and keep it in one side. They will take Nigerian curriculum and buy education. And they withdraw their lesson.
They will even tell you the
Plan.
kind of lesson plan they want.
From, and I'm saying, are we in the same, do we have the same passion? Like, you are like the guys from the agency, you have come to vet that I'm doing the right thing. But you don't even know what the right thing actually is. You can't tell me this is what is best for these children. It wasn't best for me.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't best for me.
Sure.
It's just by God's grace that, I will know what we have to go through to push through. I was telling somebody that today that, is it the environment? When a child opens their eyes in Nigeria, I'm very sure the child will first cry and say,
My goodness.
And the fear alone, now based on where you now find yourself in Nigeria, you can now know that, okay, the system is already stand up against you from day zero.
Sure.
So by the time you do your naming ceremony, based on the name they give you again, the stack may increase again. And then the school you now find yourself.
Yeah.
That is how, by the time you go to secondary school, you may have the wall of Jericho already standing against you. And there is a perception that, me that I'm sending you to school as your parents is so that you can take care of me in the old age. I don't care how you get to do it, but you got to take care of me in the old age.
Sure.
Yeah.
So how do you now know all of these? And then you look at this set of people that are being paid to do their job, and they come to tell you, see, that old outdated curriculum is what we believe in. We help you to break that system. Whereas there is one nice John McCain that has gone through the system in a foreign country. And you want me to compete with that guy for a job that he was already being prepared for from primary school.
Yes.
But me at university, I am still trying to complete my lecturer answer based on what I search on Google. This thing you are telling us is wrong. And they don't bother you to even tell your lecturer that you do that course. All these systems is like when you finally get out and you do NYC like this, I think some people don't even just remember their course again. When you go through all of this and you come out of the system and you're just saying, you see, those my books, just give it to a carousella. Let them use to back suya.
That's very true.
I want to just open my business and be selling imports and exports.
Yeah.
Because there is all of these things and it's not rocket science. I mean, I'm not a smart person. I always say I'm not a smart. In fact, in school, I was an average student. We were the one at the back that would just, don't call us off, because we don't know the answer. We don't know the answer. So, but if I can know that this is supposed to be the solution, why is it that the guys that are paid, the big boys, cannot just say, okay, guys, let's just call these people together and say, yeah, let's update our curriculum. There is AI, there's technology. There are things that are different. 5 years ago, in fact, the way the world is now, we can go to bed and come wake up tomorrow morning and they will tell us, oh, somebody can repeat, they can clone you now easily.
I'm telling you.
You don't need to you can do anything. So when are we going to find those agencies and get them to commit to actually doing the better thing so that at least when you come to a new school and you want to approve that school, you are not telling me, actually, I love your idea, it's nice, but for me to approve your school,
this is what you should
follow. You need to go and
it's just so much problem.
I don't want to, I'm a patriotic person, so I'm not trying to say, oh, Nigerian is the gutters. No. I want to use Nigerian books in my school. But when I open the book,
I want to see the value.
Just a big...
This is not it. Yeah. No. Yes, 1 + 1 is 2, but this is, you cannot just go through this, no picture, no spirit.
No,
it's just, it's just boring.
Yes.
I'm telling you.
And I'm seeing Cambridge books. I'm seeing this one where they use pictures, the kids are loving it. And then you are telling me, I don't get approved. Because why don't you get the publishers and the do better with their own books?
To review the book.
I spoke to my friend. She's doing her master's now. We're in the same course. Best Guardians went to my course. She went to UK and she said that everything we did in those 4 years that they were nonsense. Because when you see, because you have people from India, people from Asia, China. Yeah, those people are coming.
Where you meet those
China,
people?
Japan.
When you meet those people, even people that schooled from, she's in University of Manchester, people that schooled in those places, the things that they were taught at that time in their undergrad, if they bring it to me, no, I'll struggle.
And those are public schools in the UK and US.
Yes, those are public schools too. So the quality of what, as only one teacher told us when we were in school, that what we're doing is below what we are supposed to, what other people at the same level with us are doing in other countries. And this same curriculum, you have to do this thing. We're just joking now, to be honest.
Sure.
Because they're not providing. Imagine in Nigeria, they're saying that students that are coming out of university are not employable. Those are the same people that want to.
All of us know.
Like the stats is there.
And for 12 years, you've not updated your curriculum and you work there, you go to work Monday to Friday every week.
So
what's going on?
So those same students, you want them to compete globally for other people, like you just said now. It's not, there's no magic, there's no jazz. It's not possible now. So I think there's just a whole lot of work starting those. There needs to be a review.
The policy has to everything change.
I see education system.
You should encourage people to start up schools, put the qualities there, but not that you be putting, you have to do this one, you have to do this one.
And if that's happening, sorry for cutting short, if in private schools, I'm going to that means in a public school.
Who cares?
Only God knows what year the curriculum actually they are using.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
and
true.
Like you said, you expect me to actually compete because at least as you are teaching me as my teacher, madam, I don't think you have any story. You say, this boy I'm teaching, I know he's not going to. It's unfortunate. He will not be anything like. I don't think you have that kind of teacher in your class. So you want them to. So you look at that child and say, "This thing I'm teaching you.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that you become a star from it."
Yeah.
And then you are teaching me something that did not work for my grandfather. No. So how is it that we all can agree and say, okay, this is outdated, and it's not rocket science. Just go to Google.
Yes.
In fact, don't just remove the logo of a UK curriculum and stamp Nigerian coat of arm on it. Yes. I mean, they will not hold us. No. I mean,
you cannot put Nigerian history there.
Oh, so
honestly,
it can't be that. You say a school do 15 subjects and it's based on the outdated curriculum.
True.
And
really bad.
I used to wonder why, but then when I experienced that, I look at the woman, the team leader, I looked at her and said, this is an elderly woman.
Yeah.
I would have schooled her that I'm no, ma. It's like, I don't think you've gotten out of this community before.
Yeah.
What I want to say is the problem is you can't give what you don't have.
Yeah.
That's just to summarize it. Because if we don't have, like you said, elderly, if you check all the top places, crucial position in Nigeria should be held by people who are enlightened, people who can understand it now. If a young person, I feel if a young person is there, he will want to change that.
Definitely, I look at
things. Yes,
of course.
Want to put something, but the system in Nigeria will frustrate everything that is against themselves.
Yes.
They're themselves benefiting. So I feel we have a long way to go in the educational system.
But you know something I saw.
The public schools.
Something I saw that, well, I don't know, but the person was like talking about like this whole Japa thing that has now made room for younger people to actually occupy like positions that normally it would take you like 8 years, 10 years, you have to do this and do this. Like now you can just like it's easier to get there. And then I also saw another place where somebody was like, how a school, like the proprietress of a school be 25 years old. Then somebody else now replied and she was like, that was actually her. And then in her time there, like she actually really changed the school with like proof, with evidence, everything. So like, I feel like there's also that because some of these places are ministries, like they are government bodies, and it's like, it's the elderly people. You go to a ministry, most times the people you see there are elderly people. So like, do they even know what's happening? It's only their a lot of time, maybe it's only their Android phone that they know how to use. They are not exposed to technology. So what do you expect from them?
Yeah.
So it just, like you said, you cannot give what you don't have.
Sure.
No, it's quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate. I hope we do better. Seriously.
I believe we will.
Now, another thing that always disturbs somebody like me that I've noticed is kids don't love to read again. Like literacy. So you see a kid go through school, secondary students, they can't speak good English, they can't read comprehension and actually understand to answer the question. There is another pandemic of people not being able to read. Now, there was a study that was done by one of these Gates Foundation, and they found out that most kids that get to 10 years old cannot actually read. And even the ones that could read a little cannot understand, can't comprehend. That we did some studies in our own school, and we found out that even some kids did not even know English is not mathematics. And when you give them comprehension passages, once they see the box, they assume actually is for them to fill in numbers inside the box. So why do we have that issue? And what can we do to ensure that we can make things better? We can create this culture of reading and literacy in Nigeria.
Like I know, like we all know, everything that has an advantage have a disadvantage. In as much as we are celebrating technology, I think we have allowed technology to take away some of the physical things we can actually do. And where you see kids, they just want to be on phone 24/7. They want to be on TV 24/7. And I realized it has actually affected us. Whereby if you give them book, you can't tell a child to sit down
Attention
and read.
span.
It's not possible.
Attention span.
And you see parents giving excuses for that child, like, she wants hands-on this thing. Hands-on, don't doubt me, hands-on is beautiful. But there's a place you must sit down.
Yes.
And you must just read. So I think if we it boils down to parents. If the parents have a time for reading, I remember when I was growing up, my dad would wake us up. I don't know why he chose midnight. But he will wake us up, me and my younger ones, with himself. We'll all sit down in the parlor like this. He will carry something and read. All of you read. And the funny thing is, he's looking at us, dear sleep. If you just sleep, if you're from your dream, he will wake you from your dream. So unconsciously, it makes us, no matter what, you just have to sit down and read. I think, and again, most times we assume because the children can talk, they can express themselves, I can speak good English, we assume they can read. I've gotten, I've noticed it I myself personally, that when you give comprehension questions to them, comprehension stories to them, read out, you realize, my goodness, they can't. So I think if we can't, as a school, we have a time where we actually teach the children to read. But there's a time where they just sit down and read. I think that was the use of library. Our library are well decorated and the children are doing nothing. In fact, what children do is just go and watch pictures and nobody is overseeing that they are actually reading. So sometimes what I do, I have to call some of them who I know they're struggling. I will sit down, even if I'm doing something else, read out, let me hear you. As they are reading, I'm looking at my book, I'm correcting because it helps you even your vocabulary. It helps you learn how to spell. It helps you learn how to even recognize words. So we really, as parents, as teachers, as school owners, to create our time where they just sit down and read.
I think that's very, very important because the problem that we're having now is that a lot of people watch things online, content online, and they are absorbing other people's opinions. And because people are not reading, they're not able to make opinions for themselves. So whatever they're being told online, that's just it. Nobody's going, since nobody wants to read it long, somebody said they did a research. If somebody's saying they did a research, blah, 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 nobody's going to check that research to be sure that that's what, because it's a very long paper. So I think, like what you said, putting children together to read. And we also have a program of our own that we bring children together to read different levels. I think those things are very important because most of the people that I know that right now that are very articulate when they are speaking or they sound really smart, most of those people, they are good at reading. Even if they are not reading in school, reading Chike and the River, Chike and the Crocodile or Sugar Girl, they are reading their own, they read fictional books or non-fiction books on their own time and things like that. So I think it's very helpful to help make these people more articulate and to avoid people just absorbing nonsense opinions online about this, how to do your life, how to do this one.
You see somebody write a long tweet.
Nobody reads
and nobody reads it. You just comment the thing that is already right there. And you're wondering, just read. I mean, just read it. And so now there's even the AI, they summarize.
Yes, on Twitter.
And Twitter will like, you know, this is a good to kill you. So because just summarize this for me. And so please, somebody should read for us and tell us in the comments what is the story about.
Some people don't even comprehend. Let's say some people even took the time now to read
to read it. They
don't even understand what it's about. They will not bring their own opinions into the whole stuff.
I think it's everybody. Even they say as a person. Sitting down and reading is a whole lot. It's difficult. Most times, even like you said, post, we don't read. We just want shortcuts. Anything that passes 2-3 lines, forget it. Nobody reads above that line. Even me as a teacher, I'm guilty. Sometimes I tell the children, write stories. Make sure the story is interesting. And I see over 20 books. Like, grammatical errors are already there.
Yeah.
I'll just read the first 3 lines. Keep improving. So sometimes I have to tell myself, no, you must read this thing. And sometimes when I end up reading, I'm correcting almost everything.
Yeah.
You realize a child did not write come very well. You realize a child used maybe past tense instead of present tense. So now when I'm writing, giving a remark, I'm doing a book, I'm doing a review of what you've written. I'll tell you, okay, you did well. Improve on the following. Improve on your punctuation mark, improve on your spelling, improve on your use of tenses. I'm writing that, breaking it down for you just because I read that story. So it's a lot for me because sometimes I can, just to mark children's book, I can spend 2-3 hours.
Imagine.
Sometimes I have to just take a break, come back because I just want to give a detail something so that even the child feels, yes, the person read it. So I think we should just do that, incorporate it into our, maybe just having a timetable, reading time. Everybody
most schools now have literacy. Literacy week. They have reading classes.
Yeah, it's even
now at school
time.
we have every Tuesday we have a period just for reading, and then in Lens Floor we have what we call an ICRA program, literacy project and stuff like that. So because it's like a pandemic also, I mean, if you cannot read, someone can just tell you this is what this person said, and you don't take the time to read it. You just take it like that, and you just flow with it like that, and it becomes a problem. So, but
they say if you want to hide, there's a saying, if you want to hide something from a black man, hide it in a book.
Yeah.
So I hope, I pray we do better. I really, really hope so, because like if you cannot, that's just like we're talking about Twitter, like if you cannot even read 3 lines of a tweet, how much more a whole book? Like, so I believe people are doing things like literacy week now. I don't think we had that. What we had when I was in school, I sound old, oh my God. It's just library time. And we'll just go to the library. You have your book. The teacher will come around, like read with you, help you. You read. And I think that was very helpful. Me as a person, I grew up reading. I loved it. My mother, they had to ban us. Like when we go to a bookstore, they'll ban us from reading. You can't read it till we get home. Because sometimes we are halfway done with the book by the time we get home. And we are looking, by the end of the day, we finished the book. So we had to have a lot of books. And it really, really helped me. I know that it helped me like with English, even though, it helps me. So it's been a wonderful conversation so far. Does anyone want to share their takeouts from the whole conversation?
I think I'll start first. So during the course of this discussion, I've come to realize again the importance of the roles that educators have. And I've also drawn some conclusions that we need to do more. We need to engage, create our own content. I mean, like during the pandemic time, we're still using a curriculum of 2012. And during the pandemic, just that short time, the amount of change that the whole world experienced, talk less of the education sector. So I think there's a lot needs to be done regarding what we do. The people at the top need to sit down, take what we have now and build on it. We need to do research. We need to do things that are Nigeria. I mean, they talk about drugs being used and the drugs are tested on white people and you're bringing those drugs to be used. I don't know how that affects or how that plays out, but for the content we produce, we should tailor it to our own situations. We should do our own research. How do these communities work with this? How does this work? How does tech work and all those things? So I think we have a long way to go and there's a whole opportunity for us to grow.
Okay. Anyway, from the discussion, it was an amazing time. Sincerely, I enjoyed myself. Because I learned from everybody. I learned to keep on striving to be the best. I've learned about the reading time and what we can do to make sure we incorporate reading into the children. I've learned so many things that we have a long way to go educationally. But we as the teachers, we should stop blaming school owners all the time. Because sometimes we are our own problems. So I've learned as a teacher, I have a role to play. As a school owner, they have their role to play. As a parent, we also have a role to play in the development of a child. And we should not take the job with levity and think it's just to earn money. We should see that the life of the children depends on us. And we are forming the next generation that will either make or mouse. In fact, somebody said something in my school during the week. Was saying, we need to train these children. Do you know why you need to train these children? And we are like, we are tired of training. And he said something that struck me. He said, these children you are teaching in this class, in your school, hope you know they are well-placed children already. And whether you like it or not, they are the ones that will take over the country. If things don't happen, because if you are following, our father is already there. That means definitely. So if you don't train them well as a teacher, we will see nonsense in future. Our children will suffer the effects of the negligence of a teacher, training those people that become leaders of tomorrow. So it struck me like, I have a role to play. Even if it's for my own children, I have a role to play to make sure I guide these children in the best I can go. So that when they get to whatever position they become tomorrow, they can learn some of these values and some of these virtue we placed in them. So that's what I've learned from today's training.
Thank you.
All the sections.
Nice. Yes, it's training. It's an all-round conversation. Well, there is this question that you see lots of online. That is school scam. Is going to school is scam. Because I mean, people find it difficult to actually link the future to whatever they are taught in school. So I think maybe if we start, like Opea has retreated, work on our policy, try to make learning more fun. Let's teachers introduce creativity, hard content. I mean, lessons about entrepreneurship. I mean, fear of God, discipline, responsibility, money. You know, there are a lot of things that we use in actual life that we don't learn in school. So maybe by updating our curriculum to include many of these, we can at least start answering the question whether school is a scam. The way it is currently, it's a scam. So, because if you calculate how much parents pay for primary, for secondary, for university, and the alternative forgone for what they could have used that money for, even in the public institution, then it's like I've invested all this money, and when my son comes out of university, I beg him, please do masters. Maybe now, if you have a BSc, you won't get a good job. So do masters. So you do master, then they say, do PhD. So by the time you are with gray hair and everything, there is still no particular thing can show for it. So let's make school more fun. Let's make learning more fun. And then let's stop scamming our people.
Because after doing all those ones, after all the investment, your child will not say he wants to become a musician.
Exactly. So,
my goodness.
So for me, I think my takeout is that we need an updated curriculum, and that is just it. And also, please discipline children, but don't do too much. Don't pour your frustrations on children. So with that, we've come to the end of this episode, and it's been an amazing time. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as we did. Remember to like, share, comment, subscribe, turn on the post notification so you are the first to get a new video. See you same time, same place next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.